Yo, what is going on, homies? It's your boy Stumped back for another OPTC video, and in today's video, it's that time of the month again. We're wrapping up July with our legend tier list, and in today's video we have 3 new legends to talk about, 1 new 6+, and a whole bunch of level limit break characters. Now, as always, this is my personal opinion, just playing the game. Don't take it as law, but hopefully it helps you guys out with deciding what characters to level up and what characters to kind of just sit in the box and sort of just wait. Now, I do recommend keeping 1 of every single legend, 1 of every character, as always. And if you agree, let me know in the comment section below. If you disagree, let me know in the comment section below too. I love having discussions about this kind of stuff and find out where you guys like to rank your legends. Now, I do like to rank legends on usability. Now, this is across the entire game. Now, that is including in stuff like clashes, that is including stuff like arenas, regular 12-star content, like those, like, well, not monthly events, sort of like what happens with like clashes, like Clash Jinbei, for example, is out at the moment, or like an arena, so that's standard content, or the sort of free-to-play point events. Now, the downside to those like free-to-play point events is they give you boosted characters, so it's hard to rank legends on that. But we do have other areas of the game, stuff like PvP. I don't take PvP into consideration, actually, now I'm thinking about it. That is a separate tier list, so everything you see on this tier list has just got to do with pretty much every other aspect of the game besides PvP. Now, if you guys want me to sort of break down these legends and sort of say, okay, what's best for Kazuna, what's best for Grand Voyage, what's best for PvP, what's best for Treasure Map, I'm happy to do so. So let me know in the comment section below down there as well. But the big areas we're looking at is your regular day content, stuff like Forest, stuff like Garb Challenges, stuff like Clashes, stuff like Arenas. Then we have stuff like Kazuna that comes around once a month. Super Boss Kazuna is a big one. As a lot of endgame players basically just look at that as the endgame content. So that is a big place. Grand Voyage is a huge aspect of the game now too, but Grand Voyage doesn't fall as heavily into the tier list as stuff like Treasure Map and Kazuna does, because Treasure Map and Kazuna are on time limit events. Grand Voyage, you can do it any time. It's always sitting there waiting for you. So those legends, even though they're like, say for example, Carrot Wanda and Hiyori, like the only 2 characters that are Slasher, Dex, and have Hunger, they're not going to find their way to like top 10 because of that, because that content is not going anywhere. However, with Super Boss Kazuna, you have like 5 days. Treasure Map, you have like 4 days. So that's where those abilities will rank higher. Now, we do rank characters on stuff like their captain ability, their special ability, their sailor abilities, their types, their classes, how well they work on particular teams, how well they can build their own team, and if they just fit on a team because they're that goddamn broken. But with that said, if you enjoy the video, belt the like button. If you are new or you haven't done so already, like, I think like 60% of you guys now haven't subbed, so like, do your boy a favor. We make good OPTC content over here. Hit that subscribe button for me. Most importantly, enjoy the video, and let's check out the tier list of July. Alright, so the next character on the list is actually Toki. I still think Toki is incredibly valuable. Her ability to bypass 2 effects, like the Toki ability is still incredibly strong. However, the 3.5 times attack boost and orb boost for 2 characters has kind of been power crept nowadays. Especially with Luffy, like being able to give a 3.5 times orb boost to everyone. And then Roger, like, giving you a 3 times attack, 3 times orb boost that way. 3.5 is still really, really good, but because it's only for 2 units, it has been power crept, and sort of having a full boost for your entire team isn't as good as what Toki used to be able to do. However, Toki ability is still incredibly broken. Like, bypassing all mechanics like Despair, Bind, Special Reverse, Special Binds, Fear, like, all of those annoying abilities that affect the character, Toki can get around, and that's so damn valuable. Roger, I still think Roger's still up here in the top 10. I don't understand why people don't think he's a top 10 unit. He completely removes Despair, which I get isn't the most valuable ability. However, that red Haki can still like carry new players and middle ground players for so long. Like end game players, I get it. Like not a lot of people are using this guy as an end game unit. However, he's still a 3 times attack boost. Rainbow, he's a rainbow captain. He still has one of the best super types in the game, in my opinion. Just getting a full board of orbs and locking them is so good going through block orbs. Not many characters can actually do that. So I still think that Roger is just still incredible. He's so easy to build for across the whole board. And for Sai, he's pretty much Sai's best attack booster. The downside is when you are running Sai and you have this guy here, you're pretty much never using Roger because of that. However, like, Roger still holds his own in the top 10. If you want to drop him out of there, I understand. But, like, for value of team building across, like, a board, and he still holds his own in Pyre Rumble, too. I don't care what people say. Like, he's still a good Pyre Rumble unit. So I still think that he's up here in the top 10. I guess you could probably move him down, like, towards the back end now, because he's more built for, like, new and middle ground players. But for me, like, I still think he's very, very good. Yamato does a lot of damage. Both int and psi are both still very valuable. Being able to swap between the two is very, very good. Nowadays, I think they're probably, for endgame players, they're definitely above Roger, because you just want to build, like, your free spirit-centric teams or your striker-centric teams. She hybrids up really, really well with Kaido. You have the driven variation as well. So I do think she's probably better than Roger now. Law, I'm actually going to jump Law up the list. I think Law is incredibly good. Getting around paralysis is awesome. And his super tandem at level 4 and 5 is ridiculously powerful. Setting defense to 0 is very, very handy as well for getting around annoying content that has high defensive values. He's a free spirit booster, and that's why I sort of rank Luffy a little bit higher than Kaido, because free spirits are in incredible abundance. They have great utility, they have great power, and his special being an attack or an orb booster is incredibly valuable. Kid sort of has the same sort of argument for Law, for driven and strikers. However, he's a little bit more specific, as Law can use Luffy characters for his super tandem. So can Kid, but there's not a lot of driven striker Luffys, where there's a lot of free spirit Luffys for Law. So I do think Law takes the cake on Kid just a little bit, but I do think Roger's probably towards the back end of this tier list now. As for God tier, I don't really want to move anyone from God tier. Well, actually, sorry, I lied. I do want to make some changes to God tier. The waifus I still think are incredibly good. Ace Sabo, like for, what's it called? Grand Voyage. Oh god, they're so good in 2 of the Grand Voyage level 5s, so they have to stay here. Like, if we were doing a Grand Voyage tier list, they'd be up here in the top 10, but look, across the board, they've sort of dropped off a little bit. Mainly because they're a little bit slower. In their single forms, they have lower captain multipliers. Their special's still incredibly great. Their switch is still incredibly good. I do think they're at the top end of this god tier. As for Akainu and Ace, I do want to bring Akainu and Ace down a tier. I think they've had their time in the sun. I think nowadays, they're not god tier. Akainu being able to get his versatility and Ace getting his versatility is great, but there's other characters that can do that Ignite ability, namely this unit here, being Ace Yamato. So I think that Akainu and Ace have sort of dropped off a little bit. Chain locking is nowhere near as valuable as it used to be. I do think they're at the higher end of amazing, but the chain boundary effect of Ace is very hard to get unless you have a way of manipulating a strength orb on your captain or using Ace as a captain. But if you are using these guys as captains, you do lose out on super type, you do lose out on super class, which is a bit of a downside to them as well. Nowadays, I honestly think this Blackbeard's probably better as a captain, or like getting that captain ability where you can burn with Akainu is still really, really good, and will carry most players through like harder content. However, it does reduce your stalling capabilities, and for newer players that don't have a lot of manuals or anything like that, they are going to struggle to stall out that sort of stuff, like those sort of things. I couldn't tell you last time I used Akainu and Ace. Once upon a time, they were like one of my most used legends, but nowadays, I really don't use them that often, because Akainu basically has to compete with like Kaido for powerhouse or boosting. You also have like, for Driven, you have Kid up here, you have Blackbeard for the chain boundary, you have X-Drake with chain boundary, which I think is just way better, way more valuable than what Akainu does. However, Akainu does give you a full border orbs through block orbs, which is great, and a great chain lock as well, but I just think compared to some of these other units here for where the value is, Akainu has sort of dropped off quite a bit, and so has Ace, honestly. Ace doesn't go through block orbs, which is a little bit annoying. However, full border orbs, a great orb boost to free spirits and shooters is awesome, but like where you use Ace nowadays, he's just basically been directly replaced with Ace and Yamato. As for everyone else, I do like everyone else up here in Amazing, up in God tier. I think everyone else holds their own. The waifus, for me, are kind of towards the back end here. Like, I don't use the waifus all that much. However, they have great utility. They have great color affinity. They're amazing in Kazuna. Like, a really, really good Kazuna option. Especially because they hybrid up with this guy so well. This X-Drake's still a great option for hybriding with Kaido. Kid, probably towards the back end nowadays. Mainly because, like, if you want to use these guys, and then, like, Kid's attack and orb boost, or attack boost, or orb boost, you lose a lot of HP, which then nerfs their color affinity, so Kid has probably dropped off quite a bit. I couldn't really tell you the last time I used Kid, except the versatility of this Kid is so good for driven strikers and strength teams, and not to mention he's a god in Rumble. Bon Clay still holds his own in Kazuna, Treasure Map, all those like really high-end places. Frankie has one of the best specials in the game, amazing for 2 of the Grand Voyages as well, being Shellstown and the Usopp one, so he has to stay there. Carrot Wonder, a lot of people are starting to come around on Carrot Wonder, which I love, because, like, they're so good. Like, they are so ridiculously good. Their ability to give the entire team cooldowns on Stage 3 as captain is awesome, but they're the only character that can use their special, give themselves cooldowns, and use their special while they're in their dual form. I don't think people recognize how valuable that is. Setting defense to 0, great orb boost, great switchability. Like, they're just incredibly powerful. They're such a good unit, and they're still the best unit for Shellstown. I know Hiyori's come out and kind of replaced them, but I wouldn't say Hiyori's replaced them. It's just a different way to run the content. Kinemon and Dendro, I just recently learned that you can stack resistances. So, shout out to the spoon that I am. But, like, that sort of frees up using 2 Kinemon Dendros. And, like, 100% resistance after seeing what Sasuke can do is absolutely insane. For that reason, I actually want to bring Sasuke up. I did think Sasuke was on the weaker end of the 3 Tobi Roppo, but now that I know that that resistance, like, double stacks, nah, he's up the top. The base stat boost is very, very rare. He's an attack booster. He hybrids amazingly with Kaido, like, disgustingly well with Kaido, because they're both powerhouse and striker units, so they both give each other the double superclass. And if you guys were doing Super Boss Kazuna, you would have seen how valuable this combination was. If you didn't have Sasaki, you could use Queen, but, like, Sasaki's just, he's so freaking good. Like, so freaking good. As for everyone else in Amazing, the only changes I really want to make here is I think King needs to be brought down. I do think Queen outshines King massively now because of Kaido. Kaido's an orb booster for Powerhouse and Strikers. King is also an orb booster. I don't think King's as good as Akainu still. He can give you the chain boost carryover, but, like, that's nowhere near as valuable as the chain boundary and the attack boost that Queen can provide. Both of them trigger Kaido's superclass, but I just think that Queen is now so much further above King that it's just, like, not even funny. As for everyone else in Amazing, I think everyone else pretty much holds their own here. Who's Who and Black Maria, I'm still not certain on. Team building for them can be a little bit finicky because you do need Strength, Dex, and Quick. However, Black Maria has great orb manipulation, great orb boost for 3 colors, and Who's Who's, like, utility, giving color affinity a chain boost, is very, very powerful as well. Both of, like, these guys were great in Super Boss Kazuna, but, like, it was their month, so, like, it's going to be very hard to judge them now compared to when we move forward. So, using Who's Who with stuff like Kaido and X-Drake, though, is just absolutely disgusting. With these 3 units, you basically have everything you need for your attacking, and then you just fill the rest out with the utility, and it's just absolutely insane. As for everyone else in Amazing, I'm pretty happy with everyone else here. Carrot, she still holds her own because she can give you the captain swap. Queen, hybriding with Kaido for, like, Super Boss is great. Law, still amazing for stuff like Grand Voyage. Croc, you probably make an argument for me to bring down to S tier captain. I'm only ever really using Croc as a captain nowadays. He has a superclass, obviously, but trying to get his big chain boundary effect as a sailor is pretty challenging. However, he does work great under, like, Law. Law basically just hard counters, like, hard replace stims as a very, very good cerebral-based captain. So I do think that our boy Croc has dropped off quite a bit. Looking at everyone else in S tier captain, I am pretty happy with everyone else here in S tier captain. However, I do really want to move up Dogstorm. I think Dogstorm is just much better than Cat Viper. And you guys know me, like, I love my cooldowns. Dogstorm's just so good for speedrunning content. He's actually been shown that he's really good in Shellstown as well. Cat Viper you can use, but Dogstorm just works better there because of the Cat Viper support. And Dogstorm as a captain boosts classes, not colors, which, like, it just frees up units on the team a little bit nicer than what Cat Viper can do. Because he's still a 4 times captain to classes, and then he adds the extra for colors. So, I think Dogstorm needs to be moved up into Amazing. I actually would put him higher up here, like somewhere up here in terms of, like, the Amazing sort of tier. I love using Dogstorm. Whenever I can use Dogstorm, I will use Dogstorm. As for everyone else in S tier captain, I think we're pretty Gucci here. I think Boa, she's quite slow now, so I'm going to drop her down into S tier sub. Same with Bonnie. I don't really ever run Bonnie as a captain nowadays, but she's still an amazing sub potential. The ability to get around fear and stuff is very, very valuable, but it just hasn't shown in the later months that she's been amazing for that. As for Big Mom, I'm going to drop Big Mom down too. She's just basically used as a sailor nowadays. She has a great attack boost, carryover orb boost. Besides that, like, you're not really using her as a captain anymore. Like, if you had Moria, you'd be using Moria and then using Big Mom as a sub. So, there's that. As for everyone else, I do like everyone else's captain. Marco XP captain's great. Odin, Odin showed in Super Boss that he can actually still hold his own as a captain, so I'm happy with him here. Lucci's still a god. I love Lucci. This Kaido, amazing for treasure map. Like, so good for treasure map. Odin's an interesting one. Odin's rainbow, so, like, I feel like as a captain, he can still be very, very strong, and he's very easy to team build for. Kind of like why I still have Roger up here. But, yeah, I'm pretty happy with Odin there. Yeah, I'm happy with Odin there. I'm looking up here now, and I kind of want to do this. I think just for the value that Ace Sabo has in, what's it called? Grand Voyage, they need to be put up here. They can also remove Despair like what Roger can do. Their Orb Boost, yes, is a little bit janky for shooters and free spirits, but like I said, it's shown in Grand Voyage that, like, that is so freaking valuable. So I have to move Ace Sabo up. They remove Bind, they remove Despair, they remove Special Bind. They do a lot with their special as well. Like, they can give full border orbs. They're incredible. Like, they're so freaking incredible. So I'm going to drop Roger down. I think it's time. I still think that he's probably a top 10 unit, if I'm completely honest with you. But just looking at these other units for, like, endgame players as well, like, I do need to take that into consideration. What the unit can do at its max potential. And I think Ace Sabo definitely deserves to be up in the top. Definitely. Alright, so moving down to S tier sub now. S tier sub, everyone looks pretty good here. The ones we brought down are fine. The Straw Hat Crystal have one of the amazing specials. Smoothie, I haven't really had... I don't have Smoothie, so I haven't really had a chance to use her. She's a chain boundary, and I totally forgot that she is a chain boundary. We'll talk about that once I get to the back end of this video, but, like, I thought there was no quick chain boundary units. However, Smoothie is, but she's more built around powerhouse teams, which makes her a little bit hard to use, but... Corazon level Limit Break Plus is great, and everyone else here, like, you guys can check out the previous tier list to see, like, why I think these guys should be here. As for A tier captains... Yeah, I think everyone here is an A-tier captain. Katakuri is probably at the higher end here. I don't like this Katakuri, and I don't like this Luffy either. Like, I think, whilst they do super class and super type, they're not great. Same with Brook. Brook's only really amazing for Grand Voyage. And if I was doing a Grand Voyage tier list, I'd put him up here. However, everywhere else, besides Brook maybe as a sub, he's just not good. Like, he's just not good at all. As for this, these Kaidos, I don't like these Kaidos. Like, they're fast, but they're whatever. Like I said, if you want to check out, like, my reasoning for everything else down here, you guys can check it out in the previous tier lists. I'm not going to go through them all again because we have a lot to talk about at the back end of this video. So, let's scroll back down the bottom here and let's take a look at the characters we have to include. We have these 4 particular characters here. I am going to take Katakuri just directly off the tier list because this particular Katakuri just straight up replaces him. As for the level limit breaks, we're going to start with level limit break because this month's batch was actually really, really good. I was super impressed with this month's batch, and I'm actually going to start with the character who I thought got the best buff, which is V1 Kuzan. V1 Kuzan's buff was so incredible that I really want to move him up into S tier captain. Like, he's a 5.25, well, 5 times captain, sorry, as long as you kill things over 5 turns, and he's rainbow. He's a rainbow captain. He does 1 million fixed damage when you have him at level limit break 5. He's a chain boundary unit starting at 2.75 going up. And as a captain on stage 3, he gives 2 turns of an attack boost and an orb boost, 1.75, 2 times if you have him limit break expanded. Now, this is incredibly valuable because his special extends the attack and orb boost. So you basically covered for stage 3 and stage 4. He gives himself 3 turns of cooldowns and then the crew 1 turn. So he gives himself 4 turns of cooldown, which is insane. So you can get his special by stage 3 very, very easily. You can board wipe with him. He's just so good. However, he doesn't have a super class. He doesn't have a super type. And for that reason, I am going to drop him to S tier sub. We have a lot of other 5 times captains here that are also in that sort of same boat as Kuzan. But for me, like, a new game, like new players or medium game players, they're not going to have the level limit break 5. So that's another downside to this particular unit. But if you do, this guy is so good. Like, I can't wait to test this guy. I have mine at level limit break 5, and I do want to do some content on him. Or actually, no, I'm 1 off, I think. But I could use posters. I don't want to, but I could. I'll wait for him to come into the shop. So I'm going to put him in S tier sub. I do think he's like one of the best level limit breaks we've gotten. Besides maybe this guy here. Corazone's was really good too, actually. So, Kuzan, definitely deserving of the S tier sub spot. The next unit we got was Kizaru. Kizaru is still an absolute demon in PvP. But what he got for his buff is actually pretty nice. Now, I don't think it's like insane or anything like that. He is a rainbow captain now. But basically, they added color affinity to his kit. He's like a 2x color affinity booster. He gives cooldowns now, which is awesome. But I still don't think he's as good as this particular Kizaru right here. So for that reason, I'm just going to put him in sort of like rare recruit tier. The buff he got for what he does is so drastic that I do want to give him like credit for where credit is due. However, it still doesn't hit the mark with Kizaru. Like, he does 20, like, he's still slow. You have to use his special to get the big captain multiplier. And again, level limit break is expensive. Like, you need 10 copies of this unit to get him there. And if you have 10 copies of this unit ready to go, there's a good chance you have, like, this guy. Or, like, I don't know, this guy. Or, I don't know, this girl. Like, there's other Psy captains that are going to work better than what this Kizaru can provide. And if you have, like, Kuzan level limit break 5, this guy here, if you're, like, at the end of the game, you are never touching this guy, like, ever. So we're going to put him in rare recruit tier. 2x color affinity is just, like, whatever nowadays. I think it's only for slashers and shooters as well. So I think he does rotate block orbs actually now. So like that's kind of nice. I guess that's kind of nice. Rotating block orbs is pretty rare actually for slashers and shooters especially. I don't know if I'm getting him mixed up with ESO though. Yeah, look, we'll put him up here in A tier sub. We'll put him as an A tier sub. With his level limit break, he got a drastic buff. I guess. Like he got a pretty drastic buff. As for the next unit we have, it's ESO V2. ESO V2, I really, really like. I think they did a really good job with ESO V2. I don't think that he's game-breaking or anything like that. But what he can provide is a full border orbs through block orbs. He locks them, and he gives 3 turns of a chain lock. As a captain now, he's a mono slasher captain, which kind of sucks. And that's sort of why I don't think he's truly amazing, actually. I guess we could make him a solid hybrid. He's probably a solid hybrid option. 4 slasher teams. Honestly, so is this Zoro. I don't know why. Oh, no, he's got a good special. We'll leave him up there. As a captain, he's like a 5-time slasher captain. He's a 3.5 times chain lock, which is nowhere near as good as chain boundary, like I said. But the ability to get 3 turns of it, give you the good, great, perfect shenanigan stuff is actually pretty nice. Like, I really like what they did with this ESO. Yeah, I'm going to put you down in rare recruit tier. I changed my mind. I think where I had him to begin with was fine. But this ESO, I do really like this ESO. I don't think he gets enough credit for what they did to him, but, like, he's nothing, like I said, he's nothing game-breaking or anything like that. The last unit we're going to talk about is actually Akainu, and Akainu's actually up here in support. Akainu, I still think the best thing about him is his support. I still think most of the time where you're going to use him is as a support character. However, his level limit break plus did give him the ability to get color affinity in his, like, if you tap with a strength orb, but that can go both ways. Now, obviously, with Akainu, you're not going to be using him against quick bosses, but there is going to be times where you do come up against quick enemies, and that color affinity could kick your ass. So, it depends on how it works. If it's like a stagnant buff, and it doesn't provide you with a buff icon, it's going to be very strong, because you can hybrid that with another color affinity booster. So I do think he's probably a solid hybrid option for, like, mono strength teams. However, like I said, if you have level limit break 5 on this guy, you probably have this guy here. This Sabo, who's probably just going to be a little bit better in every single regard. Before I continue, though, I do want to actually bring Koala up into A-tier captain. I think Koala's shown over the last couple months that she's definitely an A-tier captain. The special reverses come in handy. She partners so well with this Luffy, like, it's ridiculous, for super class and super type, for stuff like Super Boss Kazuna. And I do think she's just way better than stuff like these 2 bombs here, so Koala definitely needs to come up. I'm going to drop Boa down to solid hybrid as well. She's just incredibly slow nowadays, and, like, yeah, never really running this Boa. Like, speed is a big aspect of my tier list, so, like, I think she probably is just a solid hybrid option. Yeah, so that's all the level limit break characters. Let me know your thoughts and opinions on the level limit break characters in the comment section below. I do have a video discussing them as well. But let's, like, take a look at the 6+ now. That is Katakuri, V2, Mr. Slam Jam. Shout out to the king. Katakuri got a lot better. I don't think he's, like, insane, but he did get a lot better. With his level limit break 5, his special is actually very, very good, and I would honestly run him over this particular Katakuri. As a captain, he got this carrot effect, where you don't need both classes as well. You just need one of the classes to actually get his captain ability to proc. He's a color affinity based captain though for me, which is kind of like, you know? However, he can do some things because of that sort of healing aspect. If you can get around normal attacks only, you actually can do a lot of damage. However, he's just still not amazing. As a captain, I do like him more, but this guy here being a superclass, in my opinion, does trump him. So I think as a sub, he's still very, very good. He's usable now, which is great. He never was usable. Like, he was down here in Dookie, for crying out loud. So he is definitely usable now. They've made him... They gave him that Dofi effect as well. This particular Dofi right... where do I have... Yeah, this Dofi right here. As sort of a solid hybrid. However, Katakuri's attack boost is for the classes he boosts, which is like Driven, Powerhouse, Fighter, Slasher. So I do think he is actually better than this Doflamingo in regular play. In PvP, he can hold his own too. And getting the 2 turns of attack boost at level limit break 5 is actually very, very valuable as well. So I'm going to stick him in A tier sub. Just because, like, as much as it pains me, I do like him more than this Katakuri. But I just think this Katakuri can actually just do more because he's a super class unit. So Katakuri, good buff. Good buff. Not amazing. Nothing like this guy, but definitely a very, very good buff that he definitely needed. As for the 3 new legends, we have the 2 waifus, Ulti and Hiyori. Shout out to the simps that summoned and actually pulled them. Congratulations to you. I won't be touching that banner. If I do, I lose this guy right here, and I ain't doing that. Now, if I summon for this unit right here, I actually lose this guy right here. And if you guys know me, I love these 2 units. They're both level limit break 5. And Super Tandem level 5. Sorry, not level limit break 5, Super Tandem level 5. So I'm not touching these banners. And the downside to that is I haven't really had a chance to use them per se. I've tried to use them here and there, but like content at the moment has been pretty dry. And all of the things that I want to do have either been uploaded by other content creators, so I've seen what they can do, or I just haven't really had the drive to actually do so. Now, I did a showcase on this particular Zora and Sanji, so I'm going to start with them. Now, as a captain, I do think they're pretty good. They're a super type captain, and at the moment with the bug, they don't trigger the Zoro effect, which is so stupid. But they hybrid really, really well with this Luffy. They're great for Grand Voyage level 5 at Shellstown, so that makes them quite valuable. They have a very good super type, giving a 1.5 times chain boost. They're a 5.2 times captain to Dex, 5.4 to Sai. Having Sai in their kit is very, very good. However, it does make team building for them very, very difficult, as synergizing Sai and Dex, they don't have perfect synergy. Like, the super type, is only for Dex, so if you bring Sai units, they're not benefiting there, but you can easily hybrid this guy up with something like Roger, I guess. Get the double super types that way. There is the free-to-play Luffy that works amazingly with these guys, because then you can switch into your captain, use the super type, and then that way you get the super type for both. So there are ways of getting around that. Their special gives a full border orbs, or full border Psy orbs, which they make matching. They're a great color affinity booster, and they give the extra damage taken. I think the extra damage taken is their big gimmick, and I think that's where they're going to see most of their play, especially as a sailor. Color affinity boosters, I'm just not a huge fan of, and honestly, I don't think they're better than any other unit that is up here, if I'm completely honest with you. Maybe Carrot, but like Carrot's abilities are just so niche to this captain swap ability that Carrot and her speed cooldowns and stuff is great. These guys' special, their super type is just nothing too amazing, and in regular play, like, they don't provide cooldowns, they don't help out with speed. They're a strong captain, sure, but, like, I still would... Most of the time, I'd rather run this guy, if I'm completely honest with you. So, especially because of the special bind removal where you need it. But they're a good unit. I'm going to leave them into S tier captain for now. You could probably make an argument to me that they're up here in amazing. But they don't have a super tandem. They don't have a final tap. Like, they're nothing too insane like these super tandem units here. Super tandem sort of just gives everyone an edge, if I'm completely honest with you. It allows you to just get so much more extra damage, provided you build your teams better or nicer, the way they need to be built. But Zoro and Sanji, yeah, look, I'm not a huge fan of them, if I'm completely honest with you. As for Ulti and Hiyori, they're another 2 units that I'm just not a massive fan of. I do think Hiyori is definitely going to be more valuable than what Ulti is, yet I do think Ulti's better. At the moment, I do think Hiyori is sort of just like S tier sub potential. She has 7 turns of bind, 7 turns of despair removal, and she gives you a full body Wano orbs, which she locks. The Wano orb locking mechanic for me is sort of the big draw to this unit, as super block orbs are becoming a very prevalent thing. However, if you don't get cooldowns for this particular unit, getting her cooldowns by stage something like 3 is going to be very, very challenging. So, as a captain, she does give 1 turn of cooldown with her super type. She removes 7 turns of resilience, which is just very, very weird. And she is a very strong captain to both strength and dex. Again, she's a Dex super type, sorry. So that is going to be more beneficial to be run a Dex team. However, you can use some strength units, namely her big Papi here, which is Odin. She doesn't provide too much extra damage because she doesn't have any damage boosting capabilities besides her utility. She gives a nice chunky heal, but it doesn't overheal. So for me, like, I just don't think she's amazing at all. As a captain, she can be run. Like, she can be run as a captain. However, I don't think she's as good a captain as these guys are here. I definitely don't think she's as good as Croc as a captain or King. Even, like, versus Wiping and Shanks for what they can provide their teams. Like, honestly, like, going down this list here, like, I just don't see where she's going to overtake anyone for what they actually use. Kaido, look, you guys know the Bible. The OPTC Bible states, if you can use V1 Kaido, use V1 Kaido. Simple as that. That's why he's up here in S tier captain. But as for Hiyori, like, if we're talking Kizuna, I'm sorry, not Kizuna, it's like Grand Voyage, yeah, she up here somewhere. She revolutionary for Shellstown. But besides that, I don't really see where you're using this Hiyori. So for me, I'm going to stick her in sub because her big draw is like the Blind Despair and the Wonder Orbs, which is, to me, screams sub. Just screams sub potential to me. So, if you guys disagree, let me know in the comment section below. Let me, like, try and convince me. I would love to be convinced. I do understand locking Wonder Orbs is busted. I get it. I know that's good. I'm not discrediting that. It's just getting that where you need it and stalling out for her special to do so. Only removing Blind and Despair is kind of like, you know, but the heal could be nice. As content goes down the track, we might move her up. But as a captain, I don't think I'm ever really going to be running her as a main captain, I guess. Like, she's still strong. Like, she's still a strong captain. She's stronger than everyone else here as a captain, to be honest. So I guess you could say she's an SD captain, but for me, like, she's probably down the back end here. She has cooldowns, so they're super type, so, like, she's an option as a captain, so we'll stick her in SD captain. We'll give her a little bit more credit than credit is due. But I do think that she's going to be back at this back end here. As for Ulti, Ulti's an interesting one, right? She does those chain boosting shenanigans that what Law and Kid can provide. And she's another super class powerhouse unit. I get it. We don't need any more super class powerhouse units. Her super class gives the conditional boost against strong enemies. And I think she gives the buff to strong enemies if you attack with her or something like that. So she has a conditional boost built in that you can't, like, that enemies can't get around. However, it's 1.75. It's 2022. It's a little bit low for my liking, but the chain boosting stuff that these guys can do is actually incredibly valuable. And she'll find a place on that Kaido team for stuff like Super Boss Kazuna. So I do think she's, in my eyes, she's much better than Hiyori. However, I do see at the moment that Hiyori is more valuable because of Shell's Town. Now, I think that will change as we get more content. I'm a bigger ulti fanboy of what the unit does at the moment, because she also removes attack down and special bind, which I think is incredibly valuable. Special bind removal 7 turns is nothing to scoff at. It's very hard to find units that can actually do that, and the attack down is just like a nice little cherry on top. So I do think Ulti's a little bit better than the Hiyori, but we're going to stick them both in S tier captain for the moment. I'm just going to put them at the back end of, like, the far end of each other there. She also gives a base stat boost, which I do think Sasuke's better at doing. However, if we're running that strength team, like, she's going to be your base stat booster for that particular team, unless you're using something like Bond Clay for whatever reason. But the chain boost that she provides, you use her with Who's Who and X-Drake and Kaido, you then have, like, a super class, a super type, a 1.4 times chain boost, and a color affinity boost, and then you have base stats and your chain, like multiplicative buffs. Like, you're going to do some nutso things with those 4 units, and then you have the other 2 units. Plus, they trigger, all 3 of these units trigger Kaido's super class, super tandem, which for me, like, if we're talking who does she work with up here, compared to who does she work with up here, like, Ulti just, she coming out on top 100 times better than what this Hiyori can provide. But I do think they're all very good captains. I don't see them breaking into the amazing tier and stuff like that. They don't have super tandems, so that immediately drops them down compared to the Toby Roppo. I get a lot of people like the Toby Roppo because you got to use the Toby Roppo with the Toby Roppo, but, like, you get their super tandem off, it's just more damage. Like, and you guys have seen with these 2 units what that can do. That more damage is just, every single turn is just so incredibly powerful, provided you build your team right. But there you guys go. that is the new tier list for the month of July. Let me know your thoughts and opinions on the changes. I know we're going to like ruffle some feathers, but remember, let me know in the comment section below. Keep it friendly, keep it fun, keep it head screwed on, I guess is the best way to put it. But most importantly, if you do enjoy the video, belt the like button. If you are new, hit that big red subscribe button. I hope you guys enjoyed this one, but most importantly, enjoy the rest of your day wherever you are in this beautiful world. I thank you guys for watching as always, and I'll catch you all in the next one. Lates! Alright, so here we go. We have the tier list from last month. Huge shout out to the tier list maker. I always like to leave a link in the description for you guys if you guys want to go check it out for yourself. As well as the database for the images provided, as well as the Discord. I had to do some sniping, or sniffing, I should say. As a lot of these like new icons aren't actually in the database yet, so I ain't gonna hold that against Solaris because like he's got a lot to do. Now, as you guys will see here, this is my top 10 in order. I do think Wadja is the best character in the game. Their final tap at level 1 is so good still, and they basically they make every team better. It's as simple as that, and that's why I think they're number 1. You can put them on any team because their switch ability is so good, their final tap is so damn good, and their special is so damn broken. So that's why I think they're the best. Closely followed by Luffy and Crew. Luffy and Crew are probably your best captain option for clearing majority of content in the game. They make every special effective underneath them. You can just build the team out with utility because they basically do attack or boost all of your damage in one unit. They rainbow orbs. They're very, very good. Very strong unit. If someone told me like they think that's the best unit in the game over Wadja, I wouldn't argue with it. I would argue with it, but I would accept it. But for me, I think Wadja just fits on so many teams and makes every single team better at level 1 final tap, where the last tap Luffy Crew, they do make every team better, but you do need them to be at level 5 really to get that final tap like popping off. If this was a Kazuna tier list, I think like they would be higher. But this unit is one of the best Kazuna units in the game. So is Wadja though, so they find their way up here. Third, I've got Yamato and Ace. Yamato and Ace, removing Blind and Special Blind in their captain is so good. They have a guaranteed conditional booster. They have a great attack boost. They have cooldowns. You know I'm a slut for cooldowns. So, very, very good unit. Great classes as well, being Free Spirit and Striker predominantly. Luffy, I have at number 4th. Super 10 and level 5 Luffy is so crazy. Obviously, Kaido can do bigger things. And if this was Kazuna, like, he'd be up here. Like, honestly, like, if it was Kazuna, he'd be here. Like, if you can use Kaido in Kazuna, you use Kaido. However, Luffy just holds the cake across every other game form besides Kazuna and Treasure Map. If you're talking Treasure Map, I think Kaido just pips him a little bit. But in stuff like I know I don't count PvP, but stuff like PvP, stuff like the regular content, like both of these guys can't be used in Grand Voyage, really. However, I did take them into Grand Voyage, and Luffy did it like so much easier, and his is so much harder in my opinion, at level 5 Shellstown. However, in like stuff like arenas, in stuff like clashes, like Luffy he's so good. And he's great in Kazuna as well. He's not as good as Kaido, but he's much easier to team build for than what Kaido is. If you partner out with Koala, or you have Koala, you can bring Luffy and you're great. If you don't have Kaido at level 5, you have to bring a friend, and then you have to fight, like, Queen's probably, like, your best option there, or maybe something like Sasaki. However, both these units, I think, are pretty interchangeable. I do think Ace Yamato, overall, are the best of the anniversary still, just because they got a great attack boost. What they provide, majority of teams is great, but these two characters here are interchangeable. I'm going to be a bit biased. I think I like Luffy more, but in most, like, the monthly contents, Kaido does shine a little bit nicer. So you could swap these two around, it wouldn't really bother me too much.